Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Train, and as an intuitive guide, energy healer, and meditation teacher, I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things energy and intuition. Everything I share is with the hope to help you remember how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Hello and welcome. Welcome to your Intuitive Week, your energy update for the week of August 10th. How are you? I'm good. I have been better, I will say. I had some dental surgery done a bit ago, and the recovery from it has not been easy. Had a little bit of a setback last week, but we're coming back strong this week, I hope. But yes, and then also dealing with some other family issues that have been challenging. And I just wanted to share because if you are also dealing with maybe some physical and emotional stuff, that, yeah, it happens. This is life. And these are the times where our intuitive and energetic practices can be so helpful, getting grounded so that you don't have to feel your system just fry with any emotional challenges, meditating, connecting to your intuition. This helps us get into that parasympathetic mode or our nervous system, that rest and digest mode, which also supports our physical healing. And, acknowledging when things are just not going the way that you would like, that you would choose. Make sure that if you are moving through some challenging times, try not to immediately look for the silver lining or the lesson, bypassing the very real feelings that come with difficulty, that come with life. And a silver lining does not always reveal itself. In hindsight, we can find it. In hindsight, we can see more clearly, find the meaning for ourselves. But sometimes just acknowledging the clouds without looking for the silver lining or the lesson or the higher meaning, that's what we need the most. The grounded clarity of the reality of where we find ourselves. And knowing that it won't be like that forever. So if you are going through a more challenging or difficult time, or if it feels like you might be moving towards a time like that, sending you so much love and support because it's not always easy. The old favorite, this too shall pass. And before I get into the meditation for this week, let's do a few grounding breaths together. Don't close your eyes if you're driving or walking, but breathe along with us. So wherever you are, if you're able to, close your eyes and just notice your breath, breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. And now take a nice deep breath in through your nose, bringing that breath down into your belly. And let that breath out through your mouth. And take another nice deep breath in through your nose, bringing that breath down into your belly. And let that breath out through your mouth. And one more nice deep breath in through your nose, bringing that breath down into your belly. A little bit more. And let that breath out. Okay. Thank you, everyone. That feels good. And a reminder about these energy updates is what I do. I go into a nice deep meditation with the intention to receive insight, guidance, messages, symbolism, anything that I can translate with my intuition and intuitive senses with as much clarity as possible. But these are for you to help develop your intuition, the language of your intuition. So trust what resonates, trust what doesn't, trust your interpretation if it resonates more over mine. And it's interesting, I did hear something recently that, like a social media kind of psychic or intuitive, they said something along the lines of saying trust what resonates and leave the rest. If you hear somebody say that, they means that their messages aren't real or as connected or true. But I will say, from my experience, my perspective, that the whole point of saying that is with the understanding that we are all human and we all filter the messages through ourselves, through our intuitive language. And that you, the person receiving the insight or the reading, you have free will to receive and interpret as you wish. And that no one knows what is true for you more than you. So maybe just it's a reminder, especially in this kind of season of the eclipses coming up. Watch out, pay attention. Watch out feels a little dramatic. Pay attention to any kind of reader or message that takes your authority away by saying that their knowing is the only true knowing. I mean, it's the basis of cults, is taking your free will and self authority away. So I will say it again, trust what resonates and leave the rest, and listen to yourself and acknowledge when your free will is being left out of the conversation, because abilities doesn't equal integrity or an ethical view. So trust yourself always. All right. So for your week of August 10th, here is what came through in the meditation. And then I will share more about the animal energy and the themes and symbolism. And then I will offer some writing prompts, soul questions to help you dive even deeper into the energy. And everything that I shared, these are all for you to navigate through the week with more attention and more intention. So when I first opened up the meditation, the person, the person in the meditation who represents you and I, we were greeted by a tiger. And as you may remember, usually the animal comes through at the end, sometimes in the middle, but sometimes, more rarely, it comes through at the beginning, which has been happening more and more this year. And this always feels like the symbolism and the meaning is more focused for the week if the animal comes through right at the beginning. And so the tiger is what could offer us the most support, the energy of, the guidance of. And this week ahead, because the tiger came through so quickly, and I'll share more about the tiger after I tell you what else came through in the meditation, but I want to share the initial wisdom that I felt from the tiger greeting us, which is boundaries and opening up to new adventures. Boundaries help us get the clarity we need to see the possibility of new adventures, to make the choice that is best for us. And this feels like a really big reminder right now that there are boundaries we need to honor for ourselves and possibly in regards to others too. And whatever that means to you, but if the message is for you, then you most likely know exactly what the tiger energy is connecting to or highlighting around boundaries and what that means for you. So really trust that. And then the next thing that came through was a beautiful green plant growing in front of us on the path. And it was not any specific plant that I received, but it was green and it was sprouting. The dirt looked really fresh, the soil, but it was very dark, very, very dark, like the sky, like the night sky with no moon. And it wasn't a small plant, it had grown quite a bit. And then we looked at our hands, both of them, and they looked like they had been in the dirt, and the sun was shining on them, highlighting the depth of that darkness of the soil, but our hands had been in it. And this feels like it's connecting to the new moon this week that is also an eclipse. And that this new moon, depending where you are on the Wednesday or the Thursday, this new moon is not asking us to plant anything. We have already planted. We have already tended. That maybe this week we're being asked to focus not on new intentions, but to really step back and look at what is growing, what has already been planted, and to look at the work and the growth that we have had our hands in, to step back to see what we have been nourishing, to pay attention to what has grown and what is still growing. And since we're paying attention to the growth, it also feels like a call to look at what we have outgrown. Maybe looking at the word eclipse, looking at what needs to be eclipsed from us, from our path, what we've outgrown and what is ready to be released. Maybe something that you thought you already did let go of, but now maybe you're realizing, no, there's still a bit more of that, still a bit more to release. So really trust what you know to be true for you, that what you are releasing is part of your growth. It might not be comfortable, but it will give you more space. And like the energy of August said and shared last week about our strengths needing to be remembered this month for us to receive what's next. Our strengths being our abilities and talents and gifts, how we express our energy and our unique purpose. And there's so many ways to do that. But what way lights you up? Fills your heart? That's one thing I'll say just on the side is even though last week was really challenging for me, my work made me feel so much better. It fills my heart so deeply, and I was so grateful for it. And that's how I know that I am on the right path because of how deeply fulfilling it is. So look for that feeling. That's a strength of yours. And maybe part of remembering your strengths is also knowing what needs to go. And since the dirt, the soil was so dark, this also feels like a message about the energy that we may be moving through this week. That kind of void energy, maybe a fertile void, trusting what's being woven, meaning the space before it all comes together, that space of creativity, before we see it come into being. This can feel very frustrating and it can make us really impatient. And then we can start to criticize ourselves or judge how far we've come or what we haven't done. So if you are in this kind of energy of this like darkness before the dawn, of things being woven before you can see them, be patient with yourself. Be gentle, compassionate. Maybe this is where the boundaries that the tiger is reminding us of come in this week. Maybe getting excited about the new adventures that the tiger reminds us of. excited about the possibilities that may be opening soon, that we're preparing for, but we don't have the details fully yet. Because in this kind of energy, we can also feel extra sensitive, and we may need more time to process our feelings. So, if you do find yourself kind of in that energy this week, then look at what space you can create for yourself, even a little bit more than usual. That could make a huge difference. And that depth of void energy also feels very tied to our sacral energy, to the space just below our belly button, all the way around to our lower back. And maybe this area needs some extra support as well. And remember, our sacral energy or chakra is supported and in harmony when we feel like we can release feelings of shame, when we feel safe in our emotions and expressing them, when we feel secure in sharing our creativity, when we feel supported and are able to receive support and help from others without feeling guilty, when we can receive compliments and generosity while also feeling secure in being generous and giving without expectation, when we can hold healthy boundaries without worry or anxiety or guilt again. So the sacral is that energy that we carry that connects to our emotions, our boundaries, feelings for self, like really feeling for ourself, but also sharing that and feeling for others, but in a healthy way, meaning it doesn't take from you. That old kind of cliche of filling your cup before filling others. And our creative force. So if any of that is resonating for you, any of those connections, then I'll link my free healing meditation for the sacral in the show notes, and that may be really helpful to connect for you. And in the energy centers, orange is what represents the sacral. It goes from the root up to the crown, and it's the spectrum of light from red to violet. So orange is the sacral, the second. And that is sometimes, for some of us, orange can really help us connect to what our sacral needs. If you look at orange and you're feeling really drawn to it, or if there's something about it that you're feeling kind of resistant to, you can follow that. And that can kind of be a sign intuitively of how your sacral needs specifically your attention. And so, a very kind of simple meditation for this week of what came through, but very important things to remember and focus on, depending what was resonating for you. And make sure you listen to the August energy impressions if you haven't yet, because there is so much about the energy of this week as it connects to the month that you can receive from last week's episode. But now let's get into the themes of the tiger. What is the tiger trying to highlight and spotlight for us? How is it guiding and inspiring? So the tiger represents the energy of inner power, courage, devotion, commitment, new adventures, sacral and throat chakra healing, passion, boundaries, soul calling, the emotional body, inner child healing, and grounding. And a bit more about the tiger. I am still finalizing the guidance from my intuitive animal oracle, but I will share a small excerpt that felt connected from the tiger that I'm working on. And then I'll also share an excerpt from Ted Andrews' insight from the book Animal Speak. So, as always, take what resonates and leave the rest. So, from my intuitive animal oracle, the tiger is number 45, which equals 9, 4 plus 5. And 9 represents the energy of the end of a cycle, learning a lesson, meeting a new door, finding the truth and wisdom within you, following your own inner light before going on to the next chapter. And the name, for now, is because all of these could change in the final one, but for now, the name is the Tiger of Inviting New Adventures. In a short excerpt, and again, it's so cool because I look at these after all of the details come in from the meditation, and then they're so connected to what I already shared. So, a bit of insight from the tiger. You have made it to the point where you might feel facets of yourself shedding and releasing, the parts of you that are refusing your next steps. This can create some fatigue and ungrounded energy in your system. It will be helpful for you to be consistent with taking care of your energy, and not only in self-soothing practices, but maybe the care you don't feel like doing. Exercise, meditation, journaling, checking in on your energetic and personal boundaries. You could have more opportunities to say yes to invitations and new experiences. Opening up to new adventures requires secure boundaries so that you know you are making decisions from a secure and anchored place. And you might find that these invitations directly mirror how much you have moved into your power, making sure the yes is coming from a deep, secure, powerful place within, because these new doors may feel unfamiliar and uncomfortable. Do not give in to your fears. Celebrate your wins and settle your losses. Cross the thresholds that are waiting in view, one step at a time, and watch yourself soar. And then also a bit of insight from animal speak. All tigers are known for their ferocity and their power. They are also excellent swimmers, unlike other large cats. This gives them ties to all the energies and mystical qualities so often associated with the element of water. Tigers are nocturnal hunters. Individuals connected to the tiger will find their most effective work accomplished at night. The traditional black and gold or orange patterning links the tiger to the mysticism surrounding the new and full moons. There has always been a great deal of mysticism and mythology centered on the tiger. A study of these associations could help you to identify its role within your life and possibly even past life links to other parts of the world. If a tiger has entered your life, it will awaken new passion and power within life. Expect it to begin within 6 to 8 weeks and maybe last for at least a year and a half. Examine what is going on in your life. Do you need more passion for life? Are you expressing your life passion inappropriately? Has your energy been down? If tiger has shown up, there will begin to manifest a renewed devotion and passion for life. So with everything that I just shared, the themes, and then my intuitive animal oracle, and then the animal speak from Ted Andrews, what parts spotlighted something in your life? Where was your attention brought? Trust that. And then here we have some writing prompts, some soul questions. Answer one or none. And remember, you can also answer them in a voice note to yourself. You don't have to journal it, but these can really help you kind of ground into what you need to focus on. So, number one, describe 3 wins to celebrate and 3 losses to release from the past 6 months. And number 2, what facets of yourself do you feel are shedding and releasing? And number 3, describe what boundaries you need to secure for yourself and why. And number 4, kind of a bonus one for this week, write a letter from your inner child, your child self, trust what age. Write a letter from your child self to you today. What are they passionate about? What do they need you to know? What do they need you to remember? a beautiful intuitive exercise, especially working with your sacral energy. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Intuitive Seek. I would love to hear how you resonated with the energy that I'm feeling that we're moving through for this week. And if you have any other interpretations or thoughts or questions, please send me a message. I love connecting with you. All of the links are in the show notes that you need to connect. And hugely appreciated if you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, subscribe or follow, depending on where you're listening. And if you feel called to give a little bit of extra support, you could comment on the episode or share it with a friend. Or if you're feeling very generous, you could leave a review. That would be super helpful too. So thank you again. Be extra kind to yourself and others. And I will talk to you next week.
Hi, Auntie Mary. I just wanted to say something very, very meaningful. Cat.